Alright, hello and welcome. So, this is a thing that I'm going to be trying to do every single week, in that this is a recap of what has been going on the free-to-play. So first things first, let's show off like what gear I've got going on right now. So, in our first day, we managed to max out our Excalibur, and I'm currently using these mods on him. I got pretty lucky in getting a continuity very early, once we got to the Void. Immediately maxed that out. Duration is incredible for Excalibur, as it both increases the efficiency of your Exalted Blade and makes your blind longer, which are both fantastic things. I got a slightly leveled Vitality, so I'm a bit hardier, and it's worth noting that this is the one exception to the rule when it comes to broken mods, in that Equilibrium is a early way to get healing whenever you pick up energy orbs. Which means that this is actually worth keeping around, because otherwise Equilibrium is quite a ways off and is not really a thing you're going to get anytime soon as a new player. So definitely putting this in Warframes is very much advised, as it increases the value of the both health and energy orbs you pick up by a pretty significant margin, considering you're going to have basically no other way to heal until probably about Jupiter. Or if you rush the Derelict, I suppose. But that's a bit unlikely for a regular new player. I also got Thieves' Wit. We got that whenever we got through the junction that automatically awards it. This is great early on for making sure you do not miss any mods, because obviously your collection is very, very limited, and you don't want to miss any of them. I've also got just Broken Streamline in here, just hanging out, because just even a little bit of efficiency is something, and then a regular redirection that I picked up that I haven't put any levels into yet, because obviously hard to fit a whole lot whenever your Warframe doesn't have a reactor in it. But we've got some really, really good standby mods. We just don't have an aura yet, which I've been watching for. But we'll talk about watching for that stuff in a second. So, otherwise, Bratton's pretty well leveled. I got a real Serration. Took a little while, longer than I would have liked to get a real Serration, and we're very short on elemental mods, as I only have Stormbringer right now. But otherwise, doing okay. Rank 4 Seration's not bad. My secondary is probably doing the best, where I've got Heated Charge, Hornet Strike, and I've got a Broken Convulsion, which is giving me the radiation damage, which is quite solid. And then we've got a real Gunslinger, which will come in handy later. And for the Mark 1 bow, this was the first thing I got, very luckily, of course, because we're on Xcal. A maxed out, regular, just normal pressure point. Which is incredibly helpful for Exalted Blade, because for those of you that do not know, Excalibur's 4 scales off of these mods, so I'm getting the 120% more damage on my Exalted Blade, and then also the 45% cold damage on top of that, and a little bit more attack speed, which is quite good. Hoping to get a stance for this pretty soon, hopefully before I max the bow. Yeah, that has been a nice weapon, and its new visual design, since they redid it, is quite nice. We also acquired Taxon. This began building the moment I got it out of the junction. It comes from the very first junction you complete. You should build it immediately. Taxon is not only an amazing source of a bunch of mastery that you're going to need, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a second, but he also can use Vacuum, as all Sentinels can, and besides that, Taxon is just a wonderful companion anyway. He is among the best, and he's the first one you get. So, definitely a good thing to do there. Speaking of building, we've got Rhino building up right now. We got all his materials and stuff. We needed to get up to Phobos to get the plastids that we needed, but that didn't take too long. Started building his parts, and then time is ticking down on building the rest of him. So we'll have him available for the next bigger play session that we do whenever the next stream happens. It's going to be every Friday. That's the plan. But we have Rhino building, and that's awesome, both because Rhino is amazing and because Mastery. And the thing about Mastery is that we need to do our next Mastery test. I might be ready for Mastery Rank 3, but we should do this anyway. The first Mastery Rank test is just a... all it is just kill dudes with your primary weapon. This is just kill dudes with your secondary weapon. It's very, very easy, so no worries there. And then the third Mastery test is kill things with melee. So the first 3 Mastery tests are nothing special, but we might as well do this one now.
Eliminate all targets.
Yeah, this is going to be very simple. It's also worth noting that, since restarting this account, I think I came to the conclusion that earlier on, the kunai are good enough, and instead of spending the 50k credits on the Lex super early, I think it may actually be better to save those credits and like build Taxon and build Rhino. Because right now I'm very low on credits, and if I had spent the 50k, it would have really delayed the amount of time, or would have really delayed me getting Rhino without a lot of further missions, which is not a good thing. Because as much as I love the Lex, Rhino and Taxon are significantly higher priority. Yeah, there's our second mastery test, all completed.
A formidable performance. This test is now complete. Mission complete.
There we are.
Excellent
Also, this
personnel.
new mastery UI is fantastic. I love it. All right, there we go. And how close are we to the next? Very close to 3. I will probably just level Taxon a little bit, getting some Nitane. So, for that, Nitane is an alert material. I actually just grabbed one just before I started recording this. It only comes from alerts, and everyone should definitely look it up. So, if you're looking for something to monitor the alerts at all times, maybe you're doing other things in your computer, and you just want to have a window open that's telling you what the fuck is going on in Warframe for all the time-limited stuff. There is a website called deathsnacks.com/WF, which is Warframe, that monitors all of like the in-game alerts, invasions, all of that stuff. So if you're looking for something to monitor stuff and you're looking for alerts, like I have been looking for an aura for my Excalibur, and Nitane pretty consistently. I've only gotten one so far. Unfortunately, I haven't had that much time. A lot of them have been when I've been asleep recently, which has been a bit unlucky. Not a big deal though. But yeah, that Snacks is a very good website. It's a really good tool for just having it open in a window. Check it every once in a while. Very good. There's going to be a link to that down in the description. I use it like a lot. Although, I don't use it on my main account very much because I kind of have like everything. But for anyone that doesn't have like everything, it's a very good tool. Now, another good tool that we need to talk about for all new players, and I did talk about this on the stream itself, but I wanted to put it here in the recap as well, is Maru's Bazaar. This is very important, and this should be refreshed for me, but if it's not a huge deal. New players should definitely go to Maru's Bazaar. It is Mastery Rank 1 locked. That will take you almost no time to get to, and you should absolutely go here as soon as you possibly can, and come back here every single week. It is vitally important that you do that, but for reasons that we'll go over once we're actually here. This is Maru.
Did you hear, Tina? If you're looking for Maru's Bazaar, you've come to the right place.
Okay, so Maru is incredibly important to a new player because every single week you'll have a weekly mission with Maru where you can get an Ayatan treasure from her. Ayatan treasures are usually pretty rare. We got quite lucky early on in the free-to-play through this time around where I think we picked up 2 statues that just happened to be around, which was quite lucky and very good for the playthrough as it turned out. But look for an Ayatan treasure, tell her you're ready, and it will start up a mission for you.
Let's do this.
So this mission is level 15 to 20, but the important thing to note about this mission is that it does not require any fighting whatsoever. This is a purely running mission. This mission is good practice for parkour. It is good practice for navigation through tile sets quickly, and it is good practice for keep away. All of these things are going to be really important in high levels in Warframe, and in general, it's good to get all of this stuff down pat anyway, and the rewards for this mission are incredible. There is absolutely no reason to not do this mission. Also, if you get lucky, as I just did, you will get this tile set.
Let's find some antiquities.
So there are 2 tile sets you can get. Whenever we did this on stream, I got the Derelict. The really good thing about the Derelict is that there are nanospores in it. The really good thing about the Void, which is this tile set, is that there are Orokin containers in it, both of which have different advantages. Orokin containers can give you a very large amount of very good mods. You can see that enemy's level 16. I'm just going to ignore them. Orokin containers like this one. So there are going to be like hidden Orokin containers, and they're a bit different for each one. You shouldn't stop for every single one you see. You kind of have to just know which ones are worth opening, because they are... Okay.
Unfortunately for you, it was also known for its deadly security
So,
apparatus.
for example, in this area, up there's a hidden area. And like in hidden areas is usually where you're gonna find the containers that have mods in them, because there is a small difference between containers that are just out in the open in like regular rooms and containers like this. So these containers should have a chance for there to be mods in them. Didn't get any there, but we got an argon crystal, which is also still very, very good. Argon crystals are going to be needed for quite a few weapons you probably want to build, but they decay over time. Here, this elevator, there's also a hidden spot. And also, there's no time limit on this mission. You can repeat it as many times as you like as well. And you can back out of this and just like do it again if you would like to get specifically the derelict or this tile set. So if you need nanospores early on, which you will at some point, you can just come here multiple times until you roll the derelict tile. And doing that is pretty well suggested. But for me, I already got some starter nanospores, so I'll be kind of okay. Alright, coming through here. Also, this counts as a hidden room. Also, lockbox for control modules if you need them. Control modules are incredibly common in the Void. Like, incredibly common. It's worth noting that I can totally fight these enemies. But I'm just choosing not to because you won't need to. This room here also can totally have mods in it. Like that one. Yeah, those can drop a huge variety of mods, and I would absolutely suggest that you do so. This is... Oh, not this one, unfortunately. I think... I'm not 100% sure over here, though. These might be able to drop mods. I don't think I've ever seen them do it, but maybe. I don't check those ones a huge amount, though. Sometimes this will be a speed room, though, where you'll have to step on this button to open the gate. If you do that, the opposite side's like little vault, like this one, will open up. And then that will be a bunch of containers that will almost certainly have mods in them. Yeah, there's so many little hidden areas around here. And like you can just check the ones you want to check. Only do like the parkour rooms if you want to, or you can just come here just to get your Iatan. All of those things are like totally valid. But there are tons of secret areas around here, and they're worth getting early on. And like also just Rubido and stuff, all that kind of business. Like up here, and containers up here, all kinds of shit. The big thing, though, is rooms like this. So this is your parkour room, which you have to complete in order to get your Iatan. There's also always going to be a ton of containers in these. But this is a speed room. You have to go through it fast. Oh, I actually got... Oh, man, I got this one. This is probably the hardest one. If you don't know it, it's going to be rough on you. There we go. But this one also has the highest amount of crates of any of the vaults. So this is our sculpture, when we can just pick that up. It doesn't end the mission or anything. But then we also get all of these. And you can see why this is so good. Because we just got 2 mods from that. And then there's all of these. There's an Iatan star, too. These are really good. This is very, very important. Picking up the stars. I just got Hellfire. That's a mod I've been looking for. That's a really good drop for me. There's a lot of amazing mods in here. Like, Shell Compression, not in particular, but that's a new mod for me, which is pretty nice. Yeah, these things are going to be real solid. And that is not the only thing in this area. This area actually has a ton of crates. In particular, and because I have my scanner, I can show it, I think. I think it'll show it to me. Maybe not at this distance here. 1 second. Oh, it pushes you off of that wall now. Climb up here. See, in there's a bunch. This is part of the reason to have Thieves' Wit, is then you can see the mods. You can see the mods that dropped out of those containers. And with Vacuum, nab them. Very important to do that. And that's not all that's in here. There's quite a few. mods in general. As you can see, because I have Thieves' Wit, you can see all the containers that are up top, which are right up here, behind this wall. And like as was shown before, you can see through the wall. You can see them from the opposite side too. There's 4 on each side. Yeah, checking both sides, highly advised. Getting rid of that, also highly advised. Only one side will open up, but you can always get all of the containers on both ends. Yeah, always good to grab those. Yeah, your Thieves' Wit that you should definitely equip will be able to tell you where all of the containers are, like these ones up here, of course. Or mods. Mods are good. Mods can be turned into Endo at the very, very least. Also, they can drop the Iatan stars. You're going to need to fill these Iatans up anyway, so you might as well. That's actually a ferret deposit. Oh, well, I need that too. And I guess I won't bother checking that side. Yeah, these missions are vital. They also reward like a pretty hefty amount of credits, like all things considered. So, no reason to not do them. We'll just get to the end here real quick. Yeah, there's like, it's worth noting, there's hidden crates like all over. Also, it's worth noting the red ones explode, so don't kill yourself with them. It's like a common thing that you probably do at some point, but try not to. Another lockbox, more control modules. Control modules are like somewhat needed early on. They're very, very common though. For a material that's considered rare anyway. Really? There we go. Alright, now we're out of here. We got a statue, ton of mods, and this mission gives you a really nice little chunk of credits. So there's no reason not to run this every single week, because this is a good little chunk of credits, a sculpture, I got some Argon while I was here, and a bunch of mods, including one that I was definitely looking for, such as, you know, Hellfire, other elementals. There are plenty of good shotgun mods that drop from those. Doing that every single week, absolutely advised. Absolutely advised. Yeah, it'll bring you back here, which will show off why you're getting these sculptures. So I have one sculpture that I have already filled up, and we'll show how to fill up sculptures in a moment here, but I'm just going to show this first because we're already here. You talk to Maru, you ask her to extract Endo from your items. I have this item that is full, and you can see that it's full because it has these all filled in. This one has none filled in, and this one has 2 out of the possible 3 filled in, because I didn't put the last one in there on purpose so I could show this. So this one's full. This is its maximum possible Endo value for a sculpture. So 1500 Endo early on, really, really good as it turns out. Even just at a base value, if you can't get stars to fill up like your sculptures, these are pretty good value. But I would absolutely suggest you wait until you do have the stars to fill these up before you sell them to Maru, because you get so much more value. Because as you can see, even with just 2 stars in this Via sculpture, it's worth more than double what it is worth just by itself. And as you can see, this one takes 2 blue stars and a amber star in order for it to be the maximum value, as does the Valana sculpture down here. And these are worth 50 and 100 respectively normally, so you can see there's a clear value increase for all parts whenever you just put them together. It's very Resident Evil 4 for those of you that played that. So yeah, we're going to sell this and get some more Endo. This is going to be your big source of Endo early on as a new player. All of the Endo you're going to need early on is going to come from here, because generally in Star Chart missions, you're going to get a very, very low amount of Endo, and these sculptures really make up for that a lot. So if we go over here, Iatan treasures, we're going to put the last one in here. You can see these slots are already filled, and this is how you fill up slots. You go to your Iatan treasures, click on the one you need to fill up, and then just take my Iatan Amber Star and put it in there. And you can see it went all the way up to 1800. It was at about 1100 before, and as we saw previously, the Amber Stars are usually worth 100 on their own. So that increased the value of that Amber Star by over 500 Endo, which is pretty significant. So now if we wanted to give this to Maru, we definitely could. And you can see how much Endo I have. I actually have quite a bit extra, because it also takes credits to level mods, but as you can see, I got a pretty good amount of credits from that mission as well. It's going to give you a lot of kind of versatility, I suppose, to what you can level up when. It's mostly going to make it so that your restriction on leveling up your mods is going to be credit-based for a long time, until you can get to the point where you can farm a huge amount of credits, which we should get to pretty early during this playthrough. But yeah, that is kind of the basics here. As for star chart progression, obviously we started on Earth, did the Venus junction. All this stuff was pretty easy to do. I'm not going to go through how to do every single challenge. If any are particularly difficult, I will go through that though, for future junctions. For this one, all this stuff is very easy, tells you exactly what to do, very simple. Come up to Mercury. The important thing to do on Mercury is to complete Once Awake, which I think you have to do anyway, and otherwise work your way up through here and go to Tolstoj and beat Vor again. Beating Vor again gives you a bonus, like, bunch of credits, and you have to go to Suisei anyway for the junction leading the other way off of Earth, so there's no reason not to do Tolstoj while you're here. It's a very simple mission. You're just killing Vor again like you did in the tutorial, and you get a bunch of credits for it, and you get the Cronus Blueprint, which is going to be a good chunk of mastery. In fact, I already have built that weapon. So yeah, once you've done that on Mercury, it takes you back to Earth, and you go through the Mars junction. As you can see, go to Suisei on Mercury, collect 500 Rubido, easy, a bunch of easy stuff there, and complete Once Awake is also a thing there, which is why you complete that on Mercury. Cancel that. Up to Mars. Once we were up here, it was very vital for us to go to Phobos, and the reason for us to go to Phobos is, if you look down here, this has plastids. Plastids are needed for Rhino. This is the rarest material that you need for Rhino, so we came here and got ourselves all the way up to Iliad and beat the Sergeant because we need to do that anyway. Just collecting plastids along the way, keeping our eye out for those resources in missions. You need, I think, 500 or 600 of them, which is not too bad. It probably took us maybe like an hour and a half, making like just general normal progress and also getting those materials, which is really good. Completed Stickney and got our first branch into the Void, so now if I want to get some starter mods, I can just come here and do that. Doing this capture mission or doing this exterminate are both good ways to find vaults and do all kinds of stuff like that and break those containers that we saw before in the Maru mission to get mods. It's worth noting that this first branch doesn't have all of the mods available. This branch 2 from Europa is the one that is high enough level to have some of the really amazing mods that you want out of those containers, like Rage. This branch right here is the only one that does not have containers with Rage in it, so if you're looking for that mod, don't go to these 3 missions. You have to go to any of the other nodes in the Void, which is worth noting. Yeah, got off Phobos, got all that stuff done, got Rhino building, and then we did not, do the boss on War or anything like that. We still need to complete stuff for the Ceres Junction, which is not a big deal. All we need to do is refine a Void Relic, which I can probably just go do right now, and then defeat Let Krill, who is right here, which is not a big deal at all. But yeah, pretty easy. Star Chart progression, not a big deal. Was actually a lot more fluid than the previous one. Also, for anyone that's wondering why I canceled the last free-to-play through, it's because the improvements that they made in that making Rhino easier to get and giving you taxon and so on and so forth made that last playthrough kind of irrelevant. So that's why we're on this one. I hope this kind of answered some questions and caught everyone up to speed without having to watch the full 6 or 8 hour stream. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is going to be really fun, I think. I think next time the goals for the next stream are probably going to be to get to Jupiter. And then maybe start building some more Warframes and stuff so we can get a handle on that. It's also worth noting that for my starter platinum, I have 50 still. I haven't used any of it. I'm planning to buy a reactor for Rhino. Because Rhino is a Warframe that I'm going to be using across the breadth of this entire playthrough. He's going to be very useful to me. So when he's done, he's probably going to immediately get a reactor. And it's worth noting that I may, whenever I get Carrier, give Carrier a reactor as well. It kind of depends on how soon I think I could maybe get a Carrier Prime. And also Taxon may get a reactor from me, as I'll be using them a lot. But it kind of depends. Obviously, it depends on how fast I can get the other Warframes I'm looking to get, and they will need reactors too. So, yeah. That's kind of a wrap-up so far, I suppose. And I will see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully on Friday at the stream. Later, everyone.